Veteran Salute is sponsored by the Devon James Injury Lawyers.
The flight deck of an aircraft carrier is described as the most dangerous working environment in the world.
Gwen Bevel and photojournalist Nicholas Kiefer introduce us to a man who knows exactly what it's like when your office towers above the water.
Chet Sweet says his wise mother walked into the door one day and asked, "What do you see?" The answer she was looking for was the world. Then she told him in about 6 months, you're going to have to find your way in it. He did, and his life of service started in the Navy.
So I just wanted to record it.
And that's exactly what Chet Sweet did from behind the lens when he wore this sailor uniform. Sweet wanted to be a photographer's mate, and it didn't take him long to figure out. The recruiter fibbed when he said there were no open spots for the aspiring photographer yet.
And then he showed me a picture of launching aircraft, and I said, yes, I love aviation, I'll do that, but I didn't realize that was 20 hours a day, covered in jet fuel.
His schooling started on dry land, here in this hangar where the Hindenburg was once kept. There was a mock flight deck built inside.
Actually, clouds would form near the open door and actually sprinkled inside the building. It's so large.
In no time, he was on the USS Forrestal.
When you first go up, you actually have to hold hands with another man because there is so much going on in such a small place.
He says you have to work your way up.
I was underneath the planes when I first got there because that's the worst job.
He says this job made you really realize jet power.
It jars your bones. I mean, it's an afterburners and you're just feet away from that thing.
This is Sweet grabbing a quick nap during one of his stints.
You had the ultimate responsibility and you're basically the one pulling the trigger.
Sweet's talking about his favorite role, deck edge operator.
When the plane is there and you're ready to launch it, you push the button and that's what makes it take off.
And aircraft sure fly off the ship.
From 0 to 160 miles an hour is 2.5 seconds.
While planes are taking off on a carrier, they're also landing.
From 160 miles an hour, it stops in 8 feet. So it's quite a bang.
Aircraft are also constantly being moved around the ship.
While you were talking to somebody, your head never stopped moving.
He says the action went on all day and all night.
Everything's moving around and you couldn't see your hand in front of your face, but you're launching aircraft just by flashlight cones.
On deck, they were never stopped for weather or waves, even when they were taller than 30 foot.
It was kind of like standing in a Walmart parking lot where the entire parking lot's just going like this right here, saying you're launching aircraft in that.
He says they saw so many countries.
You'd be going along and you'd hear over the intercom, you see that little sliver of land over there? That's the Virgin Islands.
This captured a day his friend Peppy and he went snorkeling. Sweet says there were 5,000 men on board and there were about 50 of them crammed into this space.
We were playing some football on the flight deck and it was hard to keep hold of the ball.
Sweet has so many fond memories from his time in the Navy.
Aircraft carriers go to keep the peace by the threat of violence.
He also saw 4 crashes while on board. One time a plane lost communication at night.
Did a hit and it hit 2 other planes as it was careening off the edge in a ball of fire.
The accident killed 2 and severely injured 10 others.
One of the gentlemen that one of the legs belonged to came by in a stretcher, and to this day when I'm at work and we're doing military honors, then I have a certain star that I focus on and think of him.
Sweet is still serving others. He's the manager at the Kansas Veteran Cemetery in Winfield, where heroes and their families are remembered.
It's an honorable profession and I'm proud to be a part of it.
He says he's also proud he signed up to serve.
Launching aircraft from sunup to sundown.
And that he captured so many of the once-in-a-lifetime opportunities along the way.
Some of the stuff you look back on, you just truly appreciate later on more than you did actually at the time because, a lot of times you're just working 20 hours a day.
Sweet says he had a close call while on deck. He says one time he was standing up and a plane turned on him and blew him down the deck. He says he went rolling and it was his headset line that caught him, jerked him back, and saved him from rolling off that huge ship. Here for you, Gwen Bevel, KSN News 3.
The Devon James Injury Lawyers here with our Veteran of the Week, and that's ABE3 Chet Sweet, who proudly served our country in the United States Navy aboard the USS Forrestal. On behalf of all of Kansas, thank you for your service.
Well, I'd like to thank Devon James and KSN for their continued commitment to veterans.
Veteran Salute is sponsored by the Devon James Injury Lawyers.